Hi, hello, I'm Ariam, and this is my vlog for the Adventure in Aeldia, December 2025. If you don't know, Adventure in Aeldia is part of the Magical Readathon by Book Roast on YouTube. So it mainly takes place in September, or rather April and September, where your character goes to Magical University and you read books according to the classes they take to get their degree. However, there is also an adventure where you read one book per month for what your character is doing, and there are like branching roads and everything, and it's really, really fun. So I actually have two characters, so I need to read two books. So for my first, and this is the last month because it goes from, this one runs from January to December. Okay, hello, one mall trip later and I'm back. So my character Rafaela, her last prompt for the year is Ancient Tree Blessing. You reach your destination, the ancient tree of Eritrea. No words can quite give the splendor of being near justice. It's the oldest tree in Eldia, and you know this simply by the energy it exudes. The tree is colossal. It's almost like a network that has roots to every other tree on the continent. The branches sway ever so slightly, home to numerous cheerful birds and spirits. You travel an entire month from the edge of the area to the trunk. The connection you feel to it as you sit cross-legged at the trunk is both calming and exhilarating. The ancient tree blessing flows through your body, granting you clarity and ease of mind. Your inner monologue stills for a beautiful moment as you're truly one with nature. Before you leave, you are gifted a tiny ancient tree sapling, which nestles in your pocket. It needs not any soil or water, only you. It's a companion for life, granting calming energy when it is needed. And for that, the prompt is to read a book with a tree on the cover. So I am planning to read for that Daughter of the Forest by Juliette Marillier. And we'll get into what it's about when I tell you what I think about it so far. Then, for my character Miriam, I have Enter City of Darkmeadow. You're granted access and step through the massive stone gates of Darkmeadow's capital. It instantly feels like both a miracle and a home. Truly illuminates the stalactites and various imbued crystals in the city walls. There are magical runes and symbols etched into the stone, protective and functional charms, making sure the air is fresh and energy is sufficient. It's such a unique setup. Above all else, it's simply stunning to behold. You are led to an apartment that was granted for the duration of your stay, with a lush study. Handed the map of the city to make sure you do not get lost, it would be all too easy, and, and importantly, an entry pass to the great underworld library. Rafael and Miriam are both so happy. And the prompt for that is read your most anticipated book you have not yet gotten to. And for that, I am planning to read Before You Found Me by Brooke Bayfus. Now, I'll be back in a minute to update you on what I think of Daughter of the Forest, which is one that I've already started reading. To lie to you, I did not read any more of Daughter of the Forest today, even though I really wanted to get to page 120. I just got too busy, and I'm probably not going to have any time before show starts, and it's an ebook, so I will update you so far on what it's about and what I've read so far. So I've actually read 101 pages. And this is one of those ones where I've just gone in because I've loved a different book that the author wrote, so I'm not really totally sure what it's about. It's a medieval fantasy set in Ireland, the early medieval period, and we're following our main character, Sorcha, who is a healer, a 12-year-old healer. Oh, it's not inside out. Okay. No, it is. Okay. That makes more sense. Um, so as I said, this was a book that I wanted to read because I read something else by the author and loved it, and that was the Grimm and Blackstone series. The Grimm and Blackstone series is another medieval fantasy set in the early medieval period in Ireland that follows a healer. But it's definitely so far from what I've read, it feels like a more mature version of this. So this was actually Juliette Marillier's debut novel. And yeah, and you can definitely feel. So, like, obviously, it also feels more mature because in Grim and Blackthorn, our protagonist is an adult woman and not 12 years old. But also, the writing is better, more developed. The ideas are more developed. This one still has black and white ideas. That one is more allowing for the gray. My own moment. So, yeah. So But like, and this one is, they're both trilogies, but this one, the first book is 650 pages. That one, they're more like 300 to 400 pages, which I also personally think is usually a sign of maturity. I think that longer books are usually, they don't need to be as long as they are. I'm not a long book lover. So, yeah. Um, so what do I think? Like I said, I think there is a black and white thinking mentality, which you've heard me talk about. I do not like it. It's funny because it's the characters are very much trying to be like, oh, it's not black and white, but there is some kind of black and white thinking in there. Specifically, the characters are talking about a war, no matches for these. Um, and basically, you can see that the author's like, war is bad no matter the circumstances, blah blah blah, and like, uh, listen, if Ukraine didn't fight against Russia, even more Ukrainian children would be undergoing Russification. Um, and more than already are, and it's already freaking horrible enough. So yeah. Um, yeah. Our main character Sorcha, I don't really like her character. She's 12, but she acts a lot more mature for her age, and not, and I don't like it honestly. Um, Part of it does have to do with this magic she has, which hasn't been explained yet, which I don't mind the magic not being explained yet, because, as I said, this is a 650 page book. I'm 101 pages in. We have another 550 pages for the whole magic system to be explained and for me to understand it. So, like, only 100 pages in, it's fine that I don't know the magic system. If it were a shorter book, I would be, I still knew as little as I did now. I would be kind of like, I would be complaining, but because this is a longer book, I'm not. And yeah, that's it. That's my update. I'm gonna put this laundry away in its drawers. Hey, good morning. It's been a while. It's Wednesday, December 10th. I think the last time I spoke with you was Friday. And I am 346 pages into Daughter of the Forest, which is a little over 50% in. So, as a continuous update about the black and white, I still agree with myself. I think she does have a very black and white lookout. At the same time, it's ironic because she has a no, because she has a. The only thing I highlighted in this was her kind will tell you that there is no black and white, only shadows. That any way can be wrong or right. That good and evil are two sides of the same coin. Believe her if you will. Perhaps she tells the truth and I a falsehood. And the thing is, I agree. There are places where there aren't nuance. No, that is bad. You know? Um, and there are many things about war that I think that are black and white. However, I do not think that war itself, like, obviously war is always bad, but is it always morally bad? No, because as the example I brought up, if Ukraine hadn't decided to fight, they'd all be undergoing Russification right now, and not just the children that Russia kidnapped. Yeah. Other updates. I was very curious whether this was going to be a retelling of the Seven Swans or the Swan Brothers, whatever you like to call it, because it does have a swan on the cover, and I know Juliette Marillier does like playing with fairy tale tropes, but I didn't see like it anywhere in the description or in the review, so I thought I was just making it up. But no, it has turned out to be very much so a retelling of the Seven Swans. It does take a while to get there, but yeah, it's very much so a retelling of it. And I'm really enjoying in this specific part of the retelling how much thought Juliette Marillier put into making the shirts by the Thorns. I am finding the silence clause a little bit unbelievable. She's not allowed to make any sound, like even in her sleep, and like that's not something you can control. But yeah, it's like it's more than just talking. It's like kind of crazy. So yeah, a lot has happened. There were a few parts in the beginning where it was like, I think you skipped over writing something, but that was just at the very beginning. By now, it's all evened out. Um, yeah, I don't know if I love this, but I do. But I'm enjoying it. I like it. I'm liking it. Hello, it is December 11th, and I am now on page 464. I wish I'd been able to update you one more time, though obviously I was not able, so I didn't. Just because it would be easier to arrange my thoughts. I'm holding my computer and it's wiggling, wobbling, and you could tell. Okay. So I think we need some updates on what I said about her maturity. Actually, at this point, after a terrible traumatic thing has happened to her, and we're going to talk about that a bit more, she seems more realistic. Like, her maturity is both because she's gotten older. She's 15 and a half at this point, and so she's gotten older, so her maturity matches more what she is. But also, she does seem a little younger because of the trauma, and that actually makes it better. And speaking of that, another update on the magic that I said. Wait one moment, please. Anyways, I don't care so much at this point what exactly was happening with that magic. Like, it's not relevant to the story. I did, in the beginning, I did expect that we would get explanation. It does not seem that we're going to get an explanation, but it doesn't matter that much. Like, it's almost in a way magical realism in the vibes, even though it's very much fantasy. But in the vibes of like, you don't care exactly what where the magics come from or that. But there, like, and there were some explanations. There were like a tiny bit of explanations, but like just the very tiniest bit. What else? Oh yes, the two other things I wanted to say. One is negative, and that is a terrible traumatic thing that I was talking about. Is that she gets raped, and that rape is written incredibly descriptively. I skipped over it, but it was like 4 pages, and like, obviously, you can write whatever you want, right? But my personal preference is not to have descriptive rape scenes, and I believe it's a lot of people's personal preference. Like, the author can still write it if she likes, right? But, like, oh my god. It got on my nerves more because I had recently DNF'd a book for that I had been enjoying for having just incredibly descriptive rape scenes, and I just couldn't stand it anymore. So yeah, so like, well, it's a personal problem and not a writing flaw. It did bother me a lot. um, and then a positive thing is that the descriptions are like so crazy good. Like, not like, I'll be reading the book and I'll look out the window of the bus and I'll be like, wait, I'm not in the middle of summer and wherever she is, there aren't oak trees on the grass swords. So yeah, that's fun. Anyways, that is my update for right now. So it is December 12th. I am 605 pages into Dawn of the Forest, so I only have 45 pages left. Um, and the thing is, why am I updating you? Because I didn't want to finish it. That's partially because I read a lot of it yesterday, and partially because it is too long. Even when I'm enjoying it, I am very aware of the fact that it's too long. It did not need to be this long. It definitely could have been edited down. Yeah, and that ties to what I said in the beginning, that I was afraid it was going to be too long because I've read her later books that weren't as long and they were done well. And in general, I think books that are long are too long. So yeah, and as I said before, you can definitely tell that this is a debut book. Now, the thing I'm worried about though, weirdly enough, is how are they going to wrap everything up in 45 pages? Because this technically is a trilogy, but from what I understand, the next book follows our main character's daughter. So and there's still like a ton of things left undone. So how are they going to wrap that up? About the romance, definitely not my favorite. It was not my favorite. It was like the one thing I didn't like in the Grim and Blackthorn series as well. So I'm not surprised that I didn't like it. I just like feel like we didn't get enough time to develop, which is weird because I'm saying this book is too long. So I do think it's too long, and there are probably also like pacing issues and stuff, which is what I'm picking up on. So yeah, that's my update for right now. Hopefully next time I see you, I will finish the book. Hey, it's December 15th, and yesterday I read the last 45 pages of Daughter of the Forest. And, yeah, honestly, I didn't like them. I almost DNF'd it at the last 45 pages, and I was like, I'm not going to DNF at the last 45 pages. After I read 605 pages, I'm not DNFing it for the last 45 pages. Like, it's not that terrible enough to DNF it, but I was just incredibly bored. Like, the book itself, I would say I liked okay. Like it wasn't terrible, right? It was just way too long. And you very much felt it in the last 45 pages, which is why I was thinking of DNFing it, because it was just going on and on and on. I was just like, wrap up the ending already. And I know I said how was she going to wrap it up in 45 pages, but at the same time, it was going on for way, way too long. Like the pacing in this book was off. So yeah, I'm not continuing the series. It did make me want to go back and reread the Grimm and Blackthorn theories, which I absolutely loved, and she very much did develop as a writer and get better. So that's a good thing. Yeah, this book, not my favorite. I just ended up feeling really bored by it. It was way too long. Hey, so it's December 22nd, and as we said, Rafaela, I read Daughter of the Forest Rafaela, and she managed to go see her holy tree, which is lovely for her. But then we have for Miriam, enter a city of Dark Meadow. You're granted access and step through the massive stone gates of Dark Meadow's capital. It instantly feels like both a miracle and a home. True light illuminates the stalactites and various imbued crystals in the city walls. There are magical runes and symbols etched into the stone, protective and functional charms, making sure the air is fresh and energy is sufficient. It's such a unique setup. Above all else, it is simply stunning to behold. You were allotted an apartment that was granted for the duration of your stay, with a lush study, handed the map of the city to make sure you do not get lost. It would be all too easy, and importantly, an entry pass to the great underworld library. Read your most anticipated book you've not yet gotten to. So for that, I decided to go with Before You Found Me by Brooke Bayfus. I don't know if this is my most anticipated book. I don't know. But it's definitely a highly anticipated book for me. This is basically about this woman who leaves a abusive relationship, sorry. And she finds a kid who's being abused and she basically kidnaps him and they run away together. And listen, I just have a feeling I'm going to enjoy this. Like, I'm 15 pages into this so far, but even so, I don't really have much to say that I didn't have to say before I started this, which is I think I'm going to enjoy this. Like, maybe I'll enjoy it because it's really up my alley. Maybe I'll enjoy it because it's so bad it makes me laugh. I kind of have the feeling it'll be in the middle because it's kind of an absurd premise. But yeah, I think we'd have fun. So far, like I said, I've read 15 pages. The writing is not amazing, but it's not bad. And I feel like the story for me will be worth the writing. Like, even if the writing is not that great, the story will make up for the writing because I am obsessed by the premise. Hello, hello. It is evening, and yeah, I'm 130 pages in. This is an extremely quick read. Like, yeah, like I'm just speeding through it. Um, and how am I feeling about it? I'm feeling. Listen, I am enjoying it, but I'm also not enjoying it, which is kind of what I expected. Because as I said, the writing is not great, but part of the way the writing is now great that is actually affecting me. Like some of it is like, oh yeah, okay, the sentence isn't put together the best way, but I'll deal with it because I want the plot. But part of it is that one of the reasons I wanted to read this book, the main reason I wanted to read this book is the character development. I want to see our two characters whose names are Rowan and Gabriel, healing together and healing slowly. And again, it's very similar to the last book I read where I was like, yes, I'm here for the character development. It's like, okay, got a cure, got a cure. And while it isn't totally got a cure, it's yes. There was one thing like that, and like there are other things that I'm like, oh, I'm really stretching my suspension of disbelief here, like getting a prescription antibiotic just because she's a nurse, she still needs a prescription, right? But like I can ignore that, but just the nightmares don't count as vanish in one night, like. And we'll see how it goes, but we've actually already skipped like a year ahead. So, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I was really here, wanted to be here for the emotional development, and I'm not sure that's going to be happening. So, see, I'm not really enjoying reading this anymore even. We'll see tomorrow. We'll see tomorrow what I decide to do. Hello, it is December 24th, and yesterday I got to page 196, and I read like another two pages this morning, so now I'm on page 198. And listen, this book is not, I'm never going to recommend this book because, listen, this book is badly written. Like, literally, I'm cracking up at some parts that are supposed to be emotional just because it's badly written. Um, but I am still enjoying it, and I have no idea why. Like, it's not even like a candy book. You know, like when you're reading a book and it's like, oh, it's bad, but like, or like, not even bad, but like, oh, it's just like, this is what I need, like candy or a crack book, you know? No, this book isn't that, but it's just like because the plot is so up my alley, even though it's badly written, even though the character development is terrible, even though the suspension of disbelief is driving me crazy, and I cannot stop thinking about how this woman who supposedly cannot pick up a shutter on her own picked up an 11-year-old boy on her own, an unconscious 11-year-old boy on her own. Even despite all that, I'm still enjoying it. So, like, if I still give it star ratings, probably after I finish this, I would give it 2 stars. But like, I'm really enjoying it. Like, not really, really enjoying it, but I'm enjoying it. However, I did just get that part where like, oh, that the plot is just going to turn so stereotypical. Like, um, our character, the abused boy who our main character kidnaps to save him, she he accidentally appears on TV, and you know for sure the father's gonna come, and like obviously we need some resolution with that, but I just kind of wanted him to be like, oh, the father died or something. I don't know. I just wanted to be more concentrated on our characters, but yeah. So yeah, that's kind of disappointing. But at the same time, like it's not actually disappointing because the plot's gonna be the plot. I'm just here for whatever's gonna happen in this book that is honestly far too long. It's like 450 pages. I have no idea why. But because it's badly written. Yeah. Okay, so it is now the morning of December 25th. And honestly, I don't know why I'm still reading this. Or more accurately, I don't know why I don't want to DNF it. Because I've thought about DNFing it a few times because it's terribly written. But I don't want to. So I'm enjoying it too much to want to DNF. And yeah, it definitely feels like I shouldn't be enjoying it too much to want to DNF. I'm not like enjoying it like over the top about it, but I'm not disappointed in it because I pretty much guessed it was gonna have bad writing. So yeah, where are we now? I actually had a boyfriend for a little while. It kind of annoyed me. I don't know why. That was like the main part where I was thinking about DNFing. It would just, I don't know, gross me out the way it was written. Um, and that is pretty much where we are. We are, oh, a bunch of, there are two like creepy things that have happened, but it doesn't feel like urgent because we're already at like year 3 and they happened months apart, so we'll see. She's about to take a drastic step, I believe. Hey, so it's December 25th. No, it's not. It's December 27th. The last time I updated this, I think, was December 25th, or was it the 24th? I'm not sure. Anyways, surprise, surprise, I DNF'd before you found me. I know I said I wasn't going to DNF it, but I also said I wasn't sure why I wasn't DNFing it. And I think I now know why, after I realized that I needed to DNF it. And that is, I kept on hoping that it would turn into something I would like. That despite the bad writing, it would finally get good. You know, because just this idea of two people who were hurt so badly finding each other and helping each other was so appealing to me. But the author's fantasies were very, very different than mine, you know? And that together with the unrealisticness and the bad writing, I couldn't read it. I was over 300 pages in, and that's why I DNF'd it. So yeah, that's disappointing, especially because, as I said, it was one of the most anticipated ones on my TBR. However, I also said that However, I also said it was one of the most anticipated, but I also said I knew it might be bad writing, so okay. So what I decided to read instead, I decided to finish the Shazam series. I've been reading this since the movie came out, which was in 2019, so yeah. I reread the first one several times and never continued it, and then I have continued it since then, and before I finish it, which I did finish it tonight, I was on number 12. There are 15 of them. And I read 12 through 15 tonight. So, what shall I say? Well, 12 and 15 are actually not part of the main comic series. So, what is this comic series about? This is about Shazam and his family. If you don't know, Shazam is a superhero, is a foster kid who can turn into an adult superhero by saying the word Shazam. And his foster family are also superheroes, like his foster siblings. And they discover seven magic lands, and a bunch of stuff happens. So obviously, I can tell you about basically nothing because of that. I'll just tell you that this comics, it had actually 12 and 15 were comics by a different author that happened right after I became a superhero, and 13 and 14 finished off the saga of everything else that had happened in these comics. And I'll choose one to talk about, and I'll talk about number 12, and which I said was written by another writer, and I actually really liked it. I've enjoyed this comic series, but it's always felt a little off to me how mature Billy and his siblings are. Like, I know they look like adults and they're superheroes, but they're kids. Billy himself is like 14. Darla's like 11. That's one of the siblings. That's the youngest sibling. The oldest is Mary, who's 17. And I definitely felt like the younger ones were still written to be like too mature in the comics, and that in most of the comics in the main plot, which is written by Jeff Johns, and the number 12 and 15, which are written by Jeff Loveness, I felt they were written to be less mature, and it was definitely closer to the movie. Their characters were closer to the movie. Well, specifically Billy. Really, the only one that appeared in it was Billy, but I did feel that he was closer to the movie, and so I really liked it. I also liked the art in number 15 and 12 a lot. What I did not like were the explosion sounds written down. Right, comics always have explosion sounds. Pow, bam, krakow. And these ones just made no sense. It would just be like a bunch of consonants followed by O-O-O-O-O-M. That made no sense to me. But yeah, 5 stars for number 12. I loved it. I just loved Billy's character in it so much. Exactly what I want out of a Shazam comic. Uh, you know? So yeah. And okay, so that's number 12. Number 13 and 14, as I said, they were the ending, the culmination. Uh, and yeah, the ending hurt. The ending hurt. But I didn't really like them. The last one, especially, because I had no idea how they defeated. There was this one villain and it was not explained at all how they defeated him. It was just like, it wasn't even a Deus Ex Machina. They just did not explain how they defeated him. And then number 15, as I said, again, it was a comic that wasn't connected. Like it was way before, when he just becomes a superhero. And I definitely liked the ending. The beginning felt a little but like just the first 3-4 pages. But the ending, again, it was exactly what I wanted out of a Shazam comic, even though this one was less focused on the superheroics. So yeah, that was actually great. And now I have finished all of the adventure in Aeldia.